Black Star is, Black Star is, Black Star is.
It's the Black Star kickback, kickback. 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 Kick back your feet, stimulate your mind. Roll you up some green, sip you on some wine. Open up your ear for what G like one time. We talk about every issue underneath the sun. Health, relationship, goal, prep, and current events. Lives changing thought patterns and paradigms. Bitcoins and the come up. Observing behaviors is what we really do. Talk about them uncomfortable truths with the FAMOs. When we come together, we call it a demo. Subscribe, like, and share with your kinfolks and let them know. Productive, progressive, constructive conversation right here on Black Star Kickback.
Black Star is.
Alright, we live right now. This is the Black Star Kickback, where we talk about every issue under the sun: health, relationship, goal, prep, and motivation, current events, lives, education, change of thought patterns, etc., and paradigms, current events, and motherfucking observing motherfucking behaviors. I'm your host, RESH G, and I got the FAMO on here. We got of course, OFFCODE, MELATONIN. We got also first time coming across the underrated and ADIGUN. Am I pronouncing those two right? And also IMU Waterman. So right now we was talking about we had a couple discussions before we pushed the button. One of them was we was talking about give me that word again, because I had pronounced that word a little wrong. The basically what is produced in us that's irreversible.
Cortisol.
Cortisol. And is we basically band-aiding it with marijuana, a couple other drugs and things of that nature to kind of escape things. And is that kind of putting us in like a child position or even like a female? And we're gonna come up with some more conversations that we talking about beforehand too. It's gonna keep it just as it comes.
Right, that's right. ADIGUN, what's good, FAMO?
Hey, it's all good over here, man.
FAMO from Ibmor, the motherfucking famous Ibmor, you dig? That we fucks with them. You know what I'm saying? They gave a lot of thought-provoking concepts for us to think about, right? Now, I want to get your opinion starting off on what RESH was talking about do you think that it's possible that, maybe even in the aggregate of us, what we call BAMs over here, but I suspect you would say black men, we get high, we get fucked up to try to mask cortisol in our system and shit under these certain conditions. What do you think?
Well, I don't support the use of any kind of intoxicating agents, whether they're legal, natural, or otherwise. So marijuana, crack, heroin, there's really no reason to get high. Why would you want to escape reality? This is where we are right now.
You don't think that's something that we do in general as a people?
Many of us do this, but I would argue that whites get way higher and use way more drugs than blacks ever have. It's just that we're more known for it because of the media.
Absolutely.
But I still don't support it.
I understand. Now, when in regards to getting high off whatever substance, right? A lot of times we're taught to focus on what's wrong about it, right? Have you ever heard motherfuckers talk about, let's say, what's for the sake of the conversation, what's right about it? And what I mean by that is that it gives the motherfucking outlet to escape certain realities, even though we understand that you disagree with that. You know what I'm saying? What is your take on that?
I mean, it's still your body and it's your choice. So if that's something you want to do, that's fine. I mean, people drink alcohol every day, and that's definitely not good for you. That probably kills you more than any marijuana ever would. So if that's something you want to do, you should do it. But I won't promote it, and I won't publicly support it. You know, everyone has their own thing. I think ultimately we'll be better off if we didn't mess around with cannabis or anything else.
I agree. I definitely agree. You know, so let's tell the listening audience and us some things that you do support, so we can get a better understanding. So the people who will listen to this will get a better understanding of your ideology as an Ibmor.
Sure. I do support Black Brotherhood. I feel like one of the biggest issues we have as Black men is we have this inability to treat each other with respect. We have this inability to bond. Normally, we're raised by Black women to see each other as opponents, and that's been devastating in the Black community. So once we get on track, once we understand what Black Brotherhood is, we implement certain moral conducts, I think we'll be better off for it.
I definitely agree. What say you, Resh, about what that?
I mean, as far as the situation, as far as like the drugs, I want to say that I'm 50-50. Even though I do smoke marijuana, I do eat edibles. I have grown marijuana. Anything outside of that, I definitely don't support. I see the pros and cons of it. The only pros I can see as far as being that we is in this situation, you know, I'm not saying abuse it to the extent that maybe even myself is being recreational with it. I think it's okay to a certain extent. Now going off and doing extra and, you know, smoking every day and shit, like I say, I'm guilty of it. I can agree that, you know, I don't think that we should, you know, try to escape reality, because that's really what we over here call a form of triple consciousness. You know, basically trying to escape and accountability, which is a trait from females. You know what I'm saying? And we don't, you know, we adults, we Black adult males, BAMs. You know what I'm saying? So we understand that no matter what, everything is basically our fault. So since it's our fault, we gotta be, you know, sharp, on point, you know, at all costs. So be high and sitting around and be lazy, because I agree, it does make someone stagnant. At the same time, it also makes somebody think a little bit extra, you know what I'm saying, and think other thoughts, and get them, those people that maybe can't sit down, probably sit down and get their minds together to be a little bit of tunnel vision.
Sure, but I would like to point something out though. The marijuana, alcohol, a lot of this stuff, when you're oppressed, these things just keep you from being active. That's all they do. There are times when you're supposed to be enraged, you're supposed to be violent, you're supposed to be murderous. I mean, you have no real rights. They can kill you on camera in the middle of the street and these cops will get away with it. Now, if you're just going to go home and smoke marijuana, you're never going to do anything about it. So you can't really be active. You can't take the necessary actions if you're always sedated.
I don't think so. And I'm speaking for myself, because it's like I see people that, like yourself, you say you don't smoke marijuana. And as far as actions, you know, it's just more about just books and YouTube or whatever. And this is nowhere, I'm not talking about nobody personally, get that out there for the listening audience. I'm just saying, as far as certain individuals that don't, you know, they not about that. You know, and when it comes to something like you say, police brutality or whatever, you know, certain people feel certain ways about that situation. And it's probably somebody that's probably hyped up on something to give them that courage. You know what I'm saying? If they already own it, and I ain't saying it that I definitely don't agree with that to a certain extent, as far as outside of cannabis. I don't agree with no drug outside of cannabis. What I'm saying is, there's people that do smoke cannabis or probably do other drugs that's really probably is about, you know, taking it to the next level.
I mean, you might be right about that. You might be right about that, but I still feel like for the most part, most of the drugs we take just sedates us and it keeps us from doing what we're supposed to do. We're supposed to be unhappy. We're supposed to be full of hate and rage. We're supposed to be angry, because without those emotions, none of this shit changes. And these are emotions that primarily men are supposed to have. Men aren't supposed to be passive. All right, that's a female emotion. That's a female way of doing things. Our spirit is supposed to be like fire. We're supposed to burn up anything in our way. And we're the furthest thing from that right now. We passively accept the fact that our baby mamas enslave us on child support. We passively accept the fact that she won't let us see our kids. We passively accept the fact that we have to be little punk bitches when the police pulls us over.
That's true.
So we're not even in our right frame of mind right now. We don't even have our real spirit. We're not who we are. You know, so the last thing I would say that we should do is really push marijuana or any other drug onto black men. We shouldn't really support it. If you happen to do it, that's cool. But I can't support it.
Absolutely. Now, I will say this. In regards to what you were just saying, right, ADIGUN, that, you know, we have a certain set of circumstances that I'm sure that I've heard Ibmor cover, right, in regards to our status in society, right? And I've created a term for it. I coined it triple consciousness. Triple consciousness is a spin off of double consciousness from W.B. Du Bois, which he talks about seeing oneself through white eyes, right? Triple consciousness is just an add-on to that, where I say we see each other, we see ourselves through white eyes, whether it be male or females. And if you're specifically talking about males, we see ourselves through the female's eyes who we love, who we get imprinted upon, as BGS would say, or had. And that we typically, generally, inculcate female behaviors. You know, and so this is an epidemic, I suspect. I could be inaccurate. However, motherfuckers got to prove me wrong on that, right? And the question becomes, how do we move past that bullshit?
Word. Can I speak on that?
Absolutely.
All right. Well, we're looking at this wrong. Every time we start discussing how we're going to fix these problems, the first thing we say is economic empowerment or unity or some other shit that really takes us away from what we're supposed to be doing. Now, I'm not advocating for anything. I'm just speaking my mind here. But unless what we do has something to do with the destruction of this present day America, then it's all bullshit. No matter what we talk about or what we do, unless we're talking about violence, then it's not real. You can't thrive or rise in a system designed to keep you enslaved. And the more you invest financially into the system, the more crippled your people are going to become. You got to destroy the system. And you have to destroy those who benefit from the system. And right now, we're not the ones benefiting from the system.
True.
So that goes on a national, state-wise, local level. These people who are in charge, these lawmakers, these enforcers, these judges, these people have to pay. They got to pay for the shit.
I understand. No, so that's why over here, you know, a thing that we are attempting to cultivate is B.A.M.Hood, and that stands for Black Adult Male, Black in quote, because motherfuckers have, you know, put that position upon us, because a lot of us tend to talk about blackness in the context of it being our color. I disagree. It's our societal position, right? And so one of the tenets of B.A.M.Hood, and it's scalable because it's intended to outlive us, right? It's intended to perpetuate into the future. And, you know, when motherfuckers talk about courting, right?
Yeah.
A lot of times we talk about courting in the context of pretty much males engaging with females to persuade them to fuck with us, right? Now me, I understand that concept colloquially. I understand that. However, in B.A.M.Hood, I don't give a fuck about courting females. I give a fuck about courting males in the context of how it's defined, right? Where you're trying to gain favor and shit. Because I maintain, either it's true or it's not, that generally speaking, males are the barometer of each group, right? And that's why, you know, I suspect, you know, RESH said that everything is our motherfucking fault, whether it's perceived or not. Perception is paramount in human existence for the most part, right? So if everything is our fault, if we can't get past this triple consciousness where we tend to behave like the females who we love, we won't see the value in each other, right? And I suspect that that's the thing that we need. Well, I ain't gonna say what we need to do, because I abhor that goddamn shit when I hear so-called black people talking about what the fuck we need to do. And a lot of times when they talk that shit, they ain't even doing it, right? So I would say, I will retract that and say, I suspect that we should, maybe we should consider this as BAM specifically, because it seems like we really have no ally, right? We are our own ally, and if we don't bring shit together, if we don't see the importance in each other, if I don't see the importance of RESH, if I don't see the importance of melatonin, ADIGUN, you know, ain't shit about to change.
Word. But can I speak on something you said? You said, black men, we have to first take it upon ourselves and go like, you know, this is our fault. I think that's the worst thing we can possibly do. And this is just an opinion. Everything else I agree with.
Say it one more.
Sure. I'll try to say it again. I don't think it's right for black men to feel like everything that happened up to this point is our fault. It's definitely our responsibility to change all of this. But I'm not going to accept blame for a damn thing. The people who accept blame for how conditions are the people with the most power. Legally speaking, black women and white supremacy, these people had the most legal power. They had the most control over the situations that brought us here. So they will take the blame for it. But when it comes to how we change things, obviously that's our responsibility as black men. Well, so we do have to change things. But we shouldn't be taking blame for shit.
Now, see, I agree with what you said, right? Maybe I have a caveat, right? Because specifically what I said is it's the perception that everything is our fault, right?
Sure.
And if that be true, which I suspect it is until the motherfucker proves me wrong, right? Because my premise is this as a tenet of B.A.M.Hood. I don't accept a goddamn thing take responsibility for shit that I don't have a level of control over. Okay? You're not about to shame me for some shit that I inherited, where the motherfuckers within the group, for whatever reason, white supremacy or whatever, because I acknowledge white supremacy as the crux of what the fuck is going on, and female nature second, right? I'm not about to take responsibility for that motherfucking shit, and you're not gonna shame me for inheriting this shit, and no one invested in us, because that's, you know, manhood, which I disagree with, because it's a fucking tool status. You know what I'm saying? You're a thing when you're a fucking man. You're a thing. And once your ass don't work anymore, you are to be discarded, and the motherfuckers will put you out to the goddamn sidewalk like garbage and turn away as the motherfucking garbage man come and pick you up.
Exactly. Now,
Right.
you see, if we start taking responsibility for a lot of this stuff that we're not responsible for, we're going to end up as homosexuals. The idea that a man should be guilty or should feel guilty for having sex with a straight woman, that's homosexual. Why would I feel guilty for impregnating some bitch? And why would you punish me for impregnating a woman? All of this is anti-straight male behavior. This is an anti-straight male system. They're here to punish black men for being men.
But see, this is the underrated darkness here. Thanks my brother to welcome me in the panel. And I think the key is everything too, that we have to understand this. And we don't have that many ventures that we could talk about issues like that. We have to understand that this system always built for the woman to be on top anyway. You know what I mean? And so I hear before that the brother was talking about that, you know, that we should do better drinking and smoking and stuff like that. But see, when you tell to a roster, that's part of their culture. That's part of their religion. Now, as for me, I don't smoke. Now, do I drink at times? I only drink on special occasions, or I have a drink once in a while. I don't abuse it. But I think the thing is that of the status of us as black men right now, that we got to have a stronger brotherhood. We got to have a strong brotherhood, and we got to support each other. Like if a brother has a problem, sometimes don't put it out there in the public. You know, pull that brother on the side or whatever. You know, I can show you a certain way how to get off it. I can show you a certain way, because we got to understand one thing. Like the brother is saying that, you know, the problems that we go through is real. But the sad thing about it, that our story is still not being told. Yeah, I said 50% is being told, but now 100%. And we better understand it. And then at the same time too, why our brotherhood is so broken up, because we go by class and status now. It's not, I don't see you as a brother that you hurting. I don't care you're a professional. I don't care you're a janitor. I don't care you live in the hood. I don't care you live like hop on the hills on rich shit. You know what I'm saying? We all hurt with the same thing. And we got to get back to say that, look, I'm hurting. I need help. It's all about advocating for ourselves. You know what I mean? So,
Word.
I agree.
Yeah, that's something that's destroying the black male mind in America, is this elitism. Just because you have a house that has, 5 rooms doesn't mean you can't respect or bounce with the dude who lives in a studio apartment.
That's right.
But you also, it is though, the shit is so bad that, like the brother just said, that he said that, if a BAM need help. Nowadays, I think that, with white domination, white supremacy, whatever, the society that we live in, that's why we try to act this character of being so hard and gangster. You know what I'm saying? That I don't think that we are in a position or in society that we are so-called being tested at all times that, we got to put on this facade that we can't ask for no help. Or like I said, we was talking earlier before you guys that came on, I was talking about Gucci and Lil Wayne scissor addiction to codeine and promethazine and shit. And both of them said, at least Lil Gucci, he said he admits that he stopped at least. That he ain't had the type of surroundings of the people that he had around him, even say that, hey man, you probably need to slow that shit down. He had a lot of yes men or yes people around him and shit. And then he a gangster rapper, so who the fuck can he go to be like, hey man, I think I really do got a motherfucking addiction and shit, you know what I'm saying? Like this, that, and the third, you looked at it weak. And you already in a society where you already don't have no type of power or pull in any type of institution or anything. And then you already put on the, you know, in your household, you know, depending on how you know, you run that motherfucker. It depend. You already kind of in a little boy type of situation. You know what I'm saying? So a lot of motherfuckers use that, and I'm not saying me personally. I'm gonna be real. Yeah, I smoke a blunt to calm my motherfucking self down from probably not snapping on a person. But as far as like, you know, responsibilities and shit like that, you know, I'm good. You know what I'm saying? So I'm saying it's like other people, they probably not handling their responsibility because they steady trying to use it as escape. And then as an adult, they basically putting themselves in a child position. So it's like we put ourselves in a child position, and then the society that we live in, damn near keep us to where we can't say that, hey, I need help because we already looked at as weak.
Oh yeah, definitely. I agree on that. And I think that's the problem. It's not enough brothers we don't have enough brothers to advocate for ourselves. We don't have enough brothers to advocate for conversations like this. It is not consistent, and that is the problem. And I've been seeing that for a very long time. I'll be 52 in June. I'm not saying that I know it all. I'm not saying none of that, but I've been asking for this conversation for a very long time, and it's not consistent. And these conversations always happen when so quote unquote educate brothers that headed this conversation. What about the brothers in the hood?
That's right.
What about the brothers that because I feel that all of us as black men, we education, that's not DNA. We leaders, we are leaders, but I always say, what about the brother in the corner? What about the brother had that 9-to-5 job? What about that brother is struggling? What about that brother that he's trying to work within the system? What about them? I'm sick and tired of hearing these weak tail, we shoot, whatever the fuck they is, excuse my language, but that is the problem. We gotta have more conversations like this. We gotta talk about our issues, our black men issues. The one thing we could learn about the black woman, and I believe me, I don't want to say this, but it's true. But no matter if it's right or wrong, they support it. Whatever they want to push, if it's right or wrong, they push it. We
can't really take out the discussion about black women from our own position because most of us were raised by single black mothers. I mean, we're disadvantaged from the get-go. Other races of men, they're born into generational wealth. They never need to worry about getting an apartment because they know they can always inherit their parents' house, etc. But black men, we're not born with generational wealth. We're not even born with fathers. And the moment we turn 18, our single black mothers jump at the chance to kick us out on the street. We have no support. The brotherhood is paramount for us. Yeah, we don't have anything else but the brotherhood. We need that.
Exactly. But that's the point I'm trying to make. We never have a blueprint. And so for me, I live in Virginia, so I was born and raised in New York. So I was born into two parents. But at the same time, it was still one because my late father was a difficult man to deal with. He didn't come to my basketball games. He wasn't there. So as a man along the way, I had to find out certain shit for myself. And that's another conversation because sometimes they got this assumed, oh yeah, you was with two parents, but sometimes my father was born in the he was born in the late 1920s. And at that time, us as a people, especially as a black man, is hard. So he just knew one way. He did not have the time to adapt to certain things. So my thing is right now that as me being a godfather, that to do whatever I can to be there for my god kids, especially my godsons, because as brother, as you brought up that point, that a lot of them they come from single mothers. And then it's always been seen like, oh yeah, it's got something to do with the black man's fault. But at times it's not the black man's fault.
Well, it sounds like you're going to be a great father. Like a lot of black dudes on this call right now, they actually want to be fathers, and they're willing to do it.
Well, I did have a son. Well, I did have a son, but he passed away 2009. You know, that's my little J. So you know, that's my little man. But I think that the key is that we gotta, you know, I think sometimes us as black men, I'm not saying the ones on the panel, not saying that. No, not talking. But I'm very, very clear that we strong. But we have to learn to tell the truth. We have to learn to tell the truth that how the system had hurt us. And we have to tell the truth that sometimes I ain't gonna say all black women, but I said it's a percentage of black women that they know they're part of the system, they keep on hurting us. And we gotta talk into that.
Speak on it. Speak on it.
Let me say this. Let me say this to what you just said, right? It's my contention that this is why I talk about the whole, I only bring it up for consideration about adding the man to black, right? In the context of where we are, right? Because here's my logic, right? Womanhood and manhood in the context of maybe even all societies, but specifically we know mostly about Western society, manhood is artificial. And what I mean by that is that there has to be add-ons. That's why when I was talking earlier about investing in males, right? People within that group have to invest in those males, because what we see invariably is that motherfuckers say once we get 18, whether we were predominantly around females and shit or not, we supposed to know what it means to be a man, right? And how to function and shit, right? However, when you go to womanhood, it's primarily about having fucking children. And, you know, being at a certain age where you can have a period. You know, it's natural. It's more natural. Manhood is not natural. Even a part of manhood is being able to put yourself in harm's way and shit for a certain cause. You have to be trained in that motherfucking way consistently. I'm not talking about watching fucking movies and shit, because a lot of us, we get a lot of things that we inculcate come from fucking movies and watching TV and interacting through osmosis through people who we're around. You know what I'm saying?
But you're not even allowed to be a man in America. That system's not set up for you to be a man. You're supposed to be able to decide how your child's going to be raised, but 9 times out of 10, she's going to get full custody, and then they're going to enslave you on child support, making it virtually impossible for you to build wealth in America.
And what
you're not allowed to be a man in America.
What you said, ADIGUN, is right, is the piece of why I reject the whole term of black man, right? Because males, right, in most societies, right, males manifest shit. They manifest new shit to help them to navigate whatever society and time frame they're in, right? And a lot of us will take this as a motherfucking shot, but I say there's no such thing as a black man, okay? And that's not to be a shot. It's to acknowledge that this shit was not set up for us. We don't get those motherfucking advantages and shit. It's like if we're talking about a cop and shit, right? Because, you know, they say manhood, a man is to provide and protect. We could take that and switch it with the fucking role of the police person. You know what I'm saying? They are to protect and serve, right? However, they're giving add-ons. That's why we stop over the side of the road when they motherfucking go down the road and shit and they got their lights on, right? We stop when they got their lights on in back of us and shit. These are things that the society agree on, people agree on, to say that your ass must do this, right? We don't have those motherfucking influences and shit like that. You know what I'm saying? Black females don't depend on us for, they don't depend on us for anything, okay? In the context of this society, as far as a man, what the fuck do they depend on us for? Schooling, housing, clothing, education, healthcare. They don't depend on us for shit, okay? So we want to sit up here and play these motherfucking games, and we set up the alley-oop for these motherfuckers to dunk on us and say, well, bitch, if you a black man, man up then. I say, fuck that. You're not gonna shame me for some shit that I inherited, okay? And I'm not taking responsibility for shit that I don't have levels of control over.
That's true. We should change the way we see even black women. I mean, a lot of people want to believe that's our natural mate. But when we're talking about the American black woman, what's natural about her? How is she our mate when she's actually our enemy? If we start from the point of view that she is our enemy and we proceed through life with that in mind, I think we'll make a lot better decisions. I think we'll learn to build a lot quicker. But if we keep assuming that not all black women are the same, when the system that rules over us is the same, we're going to keep making the same mistakes. That gullible black man with a bright future, he's going to become the future baby daddy, and he's going to go to jail because he lost a job and he can't pay child support. Start with the fact that she's an enemy and you can't build anything worth shit in America. And then we can come up with a plan maybe to leave America and build elsewhere. Or we can just make money in America and then leave and build something worthwhile, like a family or business or whatever. But as long as we're here, nothing we build is really going to sustain itself.
I understand what you're saying, right? The only caveat that I would add, right, is that I don't necessarily see it necessary for us to view them as enemies. However, I will say that we should be suspicious of all of them. And a lot of times, I think it gets fucking confusing because we are raised around females who we love, i.e. females who have blood relations to us, who have intrinsic value, and we attempt to project that or are taught to project that upon other females. And I think that's why we got this whole saying of your mama black, right? As a shaming tactic, right? So I don't necessarily think we should see them as a motherfucking enemy. However, I do suspect that we should view them with suspicion because all females are biologically driven to be facilitators of culture. And unfortunately, right now, I suspect and I maintain, I don't give a fuck what nobody say, that even the females who I love, they perpetuate and facilitate white domination. And why is that? Because of white domination, we have not been able to come up with something that rivals white domination, i.e. give them motherfucking options and shit, because females, I don't think they look at loyalty like males look at loyalty. You know what I'm saying? They look at loyalty like, what can you do for me? Right? What's my best option with what I have to offer? So if they think like that, the majority of females, I suspect it will behoove us to, attempt to come together and think about the shit, you know what I'm saying? Build a psychology around what we call over here B.A.M.Hood, right? Because it detaches us from black manhood and manhood, because I think those fucking titles, those societal titles, they kind of have a psychological attachment that we have with other males, right? And we can hear that on like radio programs and whatnot, where motherfuckers talk about, these women and shit like that. The black gets dropped. Even in a lot of our personal conversations, black gets dropped. Now we're talking about men and women. And either it's true or not that within this society, the ultimate man and woman are white.
I mean, I guess I see what you're saying. It's just that I've dated women from actual Africa, and they behave nothing like the women we have here in America. And when you start talking about building anything or going off grid and living off grid or creating your own, literally your own communities somewhere in the countryside, those African women are down with that 100%. If you tell her, look, all I really need you to do is stay at home and take care of these kids while I go and I'll get the money. They're down with that. But if you say any of this shit to an American black woman, she'll look at you like you lost your fucking mind. Stay at home.
So
she'll accuse you of trying to treat her like a slave.
wait, so
Go ahead.
you said that you was down for taking care of her and her stay at home?
Yeah, depending on if you have that community. set aside, like a literal community that you and other black men built, then I would prefer her stay at home and take care of the kids while I go out and get the money or do whatever.
Okay.
I believe in controlling the women.
For the context of what you were speaking in. Okay, I got you.
Yeah. No, if you're living like everyone else, then there's no reason for her to stay at home. I mean, you're just being taken advantage of. But if you do have a community set aside, then it would be best for all men if they keep their women at home.
Well, I feel that it should be that way. But
Yeah.
we got to be honest with ourselves. We again, let's not get self-fooled about this system. And for me, this is how I look at it. Of this oppressed system that I'm talking about, I ain't talking about the kids. I'm just talking about us as men. That we gotta make the best out of it. Get whatever it is, but at the same time, we should build for our own system. And maybe it's not gonna happen in our lifetime, but it's got to be some structure there, because we leasing our own way instead of we capitalize our own. And
yeah, but we're never going to have the families and the structure we need if we don't bring these women under control, man. We have to damn near brainwash these women. American black women are so fucking outrageous and animalistic that you have to take them from the city, bring them to the countryside in a closed community where all they know is what you allow them to know. And that's it. Then you can build something from there from little while. But keeping them in the city and let them go out and work and make their own money and doing all this other shit, they're never going to be under your control. Again, we're not dealing with people. Me and you, we're people. We have souls and we have brains. But to be perfectly honest, women aren't people. They're more like animals. You got to treat her as such.
Well, you said African women are down for the cause, so wouldn't they be people?
Well, African women come from a closed community or their own culture. They haven't been, I guess, ravaged or brainwashed by white supremacy yet.
Wait.
So they were dehumanized from this brainwashing that they received over here under colonialism.
Yeah, but American black women have been, they have been fucked through, man. There's nothing you can do with one if you keep her in this environment.
Right. Okay, I got you. Okay, I got you now.
Yeah, but we gotta understand too. I know you, brother. You talking about our women in America, but they are women that I know for a fact that come from African nations around the world. They come here and they get Americanized.
And shit, it ain't even that. Trinidad, Jamaica. I done been over in Trinidad, Jamaica, and Belize. That's 3 places that I can say I've been. They already like that, even over there. You dig what I'm saying? So it's they already westernized, even outside of the United States. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? So they already looking at it. I ain't gonna lie. I done came up lying, saying that I'm gonna bring somebody back. You did? So it's like, come on, they want to get here. They look at this motherfucker as an opportunity. So even when you leave somewhere, don't think that you still ain't gonna have that American USD stamp on you. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, still motherfucker, still looking at you as a come up.
That's what
I'm kind of impressed by him saying that, or insinuating, if I'm hearing this correctly, that the American system dehumanizes people. He said they're no longer even people. They're just animals.
Yeah, well, it does that for women, I'll say that. For men, it does dehumanize us, but it really just regulates us to the position of slave. We can't be men, we can't be builders, we can't be shit out as long as America stands. That's why in the beginning of all this, I said one of the most important things we need to do is destroy this version of America. And that's going to take violence and revolution. but we can't really build anything within the system that's going to last because America isn't designed for us to thrive.
So how do we do that without a bond with each other? Because, you know, one of the questions that come to me is that,
Exactly.
you know, we're dealing with anti-blackness, and what I mean by that is everyone has been trained to not like, associate with black people, even black people, and specifically the males, because I have a propensity to focus on BAMs, right?
Word.
How in the fuck do we get past that shit? You know what I'm saying? What are some ways that we could come up with, you know what I'm saying, that could, like I said earlier, that we could court each other and shit so that we could see ourselves in each other and shit? Because we've been raised around females who, you know, like how we'll beat each other ass and shit and become friends like a motherfucker the next day. However, we've seen some of the females who we love and some who we don't, they motherfucking fight and they enemies for life.
Well, I think you got to start where you are, because I believe in building circles. And
right.
Meeting some of the people in your area is one of the most important things you can possibly do. Focus on black men who happen to be, hopefully, who happen to be single. And you can actually bring him into the circle and talk to him about your ways. I'm Ibmor, so I'm going to talk about Ibmor things. And we're going to treat this like a militia. We're going to have scheduled times when me and the group, maybe 5 or 6 strong, we're going to do this, or we're going to go to these classes, and we're going to learn how to live off grid, or we're going to learn how to live in the woods or whatever. We're going to learn some shit that pertains to black and male empowerment. But it starts with bringing the men into this. It's almost like an organization or a social group, but it's more structured, you know. And you have to start with.
I did want to.
Like on my, oh, I'm sorry.
No worries. I did want to ask you this, ADIGUN. I have heard you say that because, you know, I'm subscribed to you. I fucks with you, right?
Appreciate it. Do
you have that right now?
Yes, but it was a lot bigger last year. We had some falling out, and this goes with building any circle. You're gonna have a falling out, and once you get a woman involved, even if that's not what you planned, that's it. The dynamic of the circle is gonna be ruined. So we had a falling out, and now we're rebuilding the circle.
Okay, I can fuck with that, and we definitely want you to stick around and shit too, ADIGUN, because, you know, we're about what the fuck you're talking about. You know, B.A.M.Hood is just that. You know, it's million add-on. It's not something. It's not a zealot type shit. You know, hey, you know, if you're not this, you ain't shit. You know what I'm saying? Because we probably will have some who will call themselves black men. You know, and that's a colloquial understanding, right? That's cool. However, long as they can see reason, right, and the logic of shit, we could fuck with each other, and we definitely want you to be part of anything we fucking with. Yeah.
Word. I appreciate that, man.
Yeah, like on my channel, what I do cooking. I talk about politics, but I'm just talking about cooking now. And then when I cook, I always talk about us as black men. Let's get back to fellowship with each other and fellowship with our family and our kids. And also I stress that because part of the brotherhood, we lost out the fellowship about it. We lost out the camaraderie of us as men. And so part of that is like me doing cooking, that's part of like helping us to advocate for myself. Cause see, I'm single. So I know that I gotta be accountable of how I run my household. You know, and so I teach brothers, show brothers, like when you get food, learn how to read labels, because there are sometimes, you know, whatever part of the community that we in, there's no farmer markets. Let's be honest here.
That's right.
You know, the farm markets. So I teach brothers how to read labels. Whatever food you read labels. If it's a lower number, that's when you get it. The shop smartly, because I learned that years ago. So we have to learn to share whatever resources. Hey, it don't have to be big. It could be small. Then you know, like I like what the brother was saying, that, you know, have a circle and stuff like that. You know, I would like to have that. You know, we go hang out sometimes. You know, chop it up a little bit, talk about our issues for a change, and because we need that, we need that fellowship or something. So
Well,
my channel, that's what I do.
And
part
I,
of
and
the circle,
you too.
part of the circle is security. Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Yeah, part of the circle is security, because we had two dudes who they ended up losing their jobs, and they had to move in. One moved in with me, and the other one moved in with a friend of ours.
That's right.
And if it wasn't for us, they can't move back in with their moms. There's no one else. They would have had to move into like a shelter. But because this is a brotherhood and this is a circle, we're here for each other.
Right.
So I ended up having a roommate that he didn't pay rent for like the first 2 months, but eventually he did get on his feet and start contributing. And then he was still able to save up plenty of money. But the point is, he wasn't going to hit the ground. I was his safety net.
That's right.
And if I was to lose my job today, someone else would be my safety net. This is a brotherhood. And I treat these people like they're blood brothers. And 9 times out of 10, most of these cats, I find them to be more trustworthy than anyone who's blood related to me, period.
See, he on it. ADIGUN is on it. And I want to tell you, I don't know if I'm the first, I appreciate you for doing that shit, for having that foresight. And you too, what is it, Underground?
Underrated dog.
Underrated. I want to appreciate you for specifically what you do, because a lot of times, specifically in our so-called conscious community, you have motherfuckers who they try to do every goddamn thing. They don't stay in their lane. They be swerving all over the goddamn place, right? And for you talking about cooking and shit, let me tell you something. You are needed, okay? And I would hope that you stick to that goddamn shit, teaching us like my uncle taught me, even in his confused state, okay? He still taught me to, make sure you understand how to make food for your motherfucking self so you don't have to depend on the female, because she gonna use that against you, right? So I want to appreciate you, Underrated, and ADIGUN for what the fuck you doing, real spit.
Yeah, I second it.
And I want to say this too, because this is very important that for me that ADIGUN, because I seen you before, but I didn't recognize you. But so I appreciate what you do. But work like this don't get that much views. And I'm not saying that we looking for views, but we need to talk more about that. And even other brothers on the panel, we gotta support each other. We have to make sure we get them views so the people know, like, okay, because see, my late father was a chef. And then and my mother's side of the family, they also were great cooks. But at the same time, it was much more than cooking. It was all about discipline, how you clean the house, cooking, it's all about discipline. Really, I've been out to cook. Because, in my past relationship, I was married. And also after that, my past relationship, majority of the woman was cooking. But, at the time, when I left New York in 2012, 2012, then I lived with my brother. He lives in Hampton. Then I moved to Newport News. That's like 2012. But 2014, I just got the zeal again and start cooking. And then after that, I said, after this, I said, when I get that zeal back, I'm going to show brothers, part of that is advocate for themselves to cook. So that I'm gonna keep it up. You know what I'm saying? Because but sometimes, as people, you know what I'm talking about, brother. It's not like we looking for it, but you want to get a knowledge for it. And what he doing and what I'm doing and the rest of us doing, it's not being acknowledged enough. And it's got to be more acknowledged enough. And at the same time, be acknowledged enough, we have to learn to be in the crisis. And then what we doing, it is needed all the time.
True. I think that respect is one of the most important things that we can really exhibit as black men, because I wouldn't be able to do half the shit that I've done these last couple of years without respect. I'm not going to move anyone into my home if I don't feel like he's going to respect me.
right.
I'm not going to go out there with guns into the woods and try to hunt down some deer if I don't. I'm not going to hang out with nobody if they have a gun on them if I don't feel like, we can respect each other and I can trust them. The brotherhood and respect is paramount. So when I address you, I'm going to address you with the utmost respect. And if you have something to say, I'm going to listen to you and I'm going to respond with the utmost respect. The bottom line is respect. We can't build shit without it.
That's right. Now let me shift the conversation just a bit, right? To ask you all the question as to why do you think that specifically in these circles that we are mostly around, that we don't, even if we do address these issues that we're talking about in this panel right now, right? It's like a something that fades. And then we go back to talking about it that's really not constructive, right? If that makes sense. Why do you all think that we engage in this type of behavior?
Can you say that again? Because there was some disruption there.
Okay, so what I was saying that to shift the conversation, I was wondering, and I wanted to get you all's perspective on this. I suspect, I'm sure that you all have talked about these things that we're talking about on this panel right now. However, it's a fading issue where we don't stick on this shit and make this a constant thing. We all go to some goddamn talking about Kemet or whatever else, right? That has nothing to do with B.A.M.Hood or brotherhood, whatever you want to call it.
Okay.
Why do you all think that happens?
Well, I'm going to tell you from my perspective, whatever we're doing as Ibmor, we try to do it off the internet. So a lot of times we're discussing stuff on conference calls that we'll never upload to the internet ever. There's no reason for us to do that. The moment we go public with anything we're trying to do, that's the moment white people will come through and try to ruin everything for us. So it's for me, it's about keeping everything as personal and private as possible.
Absolutely.
Okay.
We gotta
From my perspective, we're so busy trying to survive that's what is taking up the time for meaningful conversation like this.
Okay. What about you, KHONSU? We have a new person, KHONSU, Team Osiris. You there, KHONSU?
Peace, King. Peace and power, everybody, man. All the melanated kings. And I use the term king loosely. I use the term king loosely. Just a bit.
On them grave.
Yeah. What do you think about the question that's posed to the panel right now? Why do you think we do that?
Well, I want to take a quote out of a book that I read periodically. I would request that all the BAMs get you a copy, man. It's the book of Hagekure, which is the code of the samurai. This quote says, take a look at the men today. It seems that most of them have a woman's heart. There are very few true men anymore. It is easy for a strong warrior to gain the advantage these days because so few have any courage at all. This loss of the warrior's spirit is easily shown by the fact that men today cannot even behead a convicted criminal with his hands tied behind his back. As I take this quote, man, I pondered on this quote today. So it's funny how this episode is being broadcast today, man. We have and we have to be or find a means of symmetrical codification and means of productive communication amongst BAMs.
All right.
Because we have a common enemy, and that is the white man and his counterpart, his cave bitch.
That's right.
These are the two number one priorities that we as BAMs have to deal with. The BAF at this point is not important because she has become a weapon against the BAM.
There it is.
And until the BAMs are symmetrically codified in progressive communication and we prioritize justice being fulfilled against the white man and his cave bitch, then we are not moving in the right direction, bro. I can't think on nothing else but that. I am not going to disrespect or attack any brother of color. I do not have the need, the reason to do that. I don't like white people and I want justice. And that's it. That's it, bro. I don't know what else to really speak on.
Beautiful.
Can we get a slow clap started?
Let's keep it going. Let's go to Malik. What are your thoughts on it, Malik?
All right, peace, brothers, and all the kings. KHONSU, OFFCODE, Black Star. Yeah, what the brother just said right there. Yeah, and KHONSU. Another problem we have is the reason we can't progress is because of all the all the future race mixing. Plus, you notice, like I was watching the NFL draft, and I noticed, you got some of the brothers, like every brother that's coming up, like they announced they just had a baby, and the baby was with a cave bitch. That's something that's also growing at alarming numbers. Young brothers getting into the football, getting famous, marrying cave bitches. Why? I don't know.
No, you can't say you don't know. You know, man. Come on, let's be honest.
Oh, I know. I say I don't know because I don't know why this is happening. I mean, if they're up and coming, why can't they find a black queen or a sister to marry?
I'll tell you why. Because they don't exist. There's no. And I'm telling you right now, in America, there's no black woman that you would want to marry. There's not. These same black women who treat us like shit would turn around and treat a white man like gold. All right? You don't want to marry a black woman who doesn't have any respect for you whatsoever. So if you just a dude, you're not worried about nation building, you're really just concerned with just enjoying your own life. Of course you're going to look at a white woman or an Asian woman or a Hispanic woman and try to marry that. I can't blame him for it. I don't support the shit. I don't support any race mixing whatsoever. But I can't say that he's wrong for finding happiness. As long as you don't breed with the bitch, you're good to go.
No, they breed with them, like I said.
That's a problem.
You know what I want to say about that premise right there, right, Malik, is that I really don't see how it's because some of us talk about it as if it's an epidemic. I don't see that. I could be inaccurate, right? However, I would suspect that socially and biologically, and some of the numbers that white people give us, that we typically fuck with females in our group. So I tend not to lean towards that shit, right? Because it's not statistically relevant, right? However, I have seen mostly on the part of BAFs who will bring this shit up, right? However, I don't see the relevance of it. You know what I'm saying? Not to discount what you're saying.
Oh, I understand. I understand your point of view of what you're saying. Yeah, it might not be relevant, but I look at it as it's obvious. Like ADIGUN. Is that how you pronounce your name?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah, ADIGUN. Yeah, like we said earlier. Now he says black women don't respect us and they're not really people. Okay, some would disagree with that, but I understand his point of view of what he's saying. Yeah, most of the black women become so Americanized that for the most part, if they marry a brother, they want a brother that has some money. They want a brother who's successful, who can provide for them, pay their rent, et cetera, or take care of them. There are some black women, I guess a very select few, who do respect black men. They're not shallow, they're a good woman. Like I've been told I should find a black woman or woman in general in church or being a country girl.
Well, I want to point something out.
Okay, go ahead.
Look at what you just said. There are black women who might really would respect you as a black man, but all those black women have kids by other black dudes. or by other men in general.
True, yeah.
They either have 7 abortions or
No self-respecting man is going to sit there and try to marry a black woman with kids by other men, because you have to sit there day after day or month after month and tolerate the presence of their first baby daddy. And he's going to be spending time around your wife. Most of the time when a black woman cheats or when any woman cheats, it's with an ex. So no thinking.
Fact. It happened to me.
There you go.
Right, yeah.
No thinking black man is going to settle for that shit. No thinking black man would. If you're a pussy, then you would settle for it because you have no self-respect anyway. But thinking black men with pride, they're not going to settle for it.
They're not going to. But see, that's when you got to take a stand, because that's what happened to me. That's why I had to leave New York when I found out what the ex was doing. And, you know, at that time I had to take a stand. And I had to leave a lot. I left a lot. Where I was at in Brooklyn, I left a lot because there's actually, you know, little homies was looking up to me because I was doing things for our community. But for my sanity and for me, I have to leave that situation. I have to take a stand. So sometimes us brothers too, that when you take stands, you're gonna lose. But at the same time, it's all about self-worth. And we have to gain that back of self-worth. So I have to say to myself, yo, JT, you have to, you self-worth. You know what I'm saying? You have to act. That's why I always talk about advocate for ourselves. Now, did it took a while to gain it back, to get myself together? Yeah. It took our perseverance, look into myself in the mirror, and understand that mistakes that I made in the past, I'm not making it no more. And that's why, like, it's so funny, going on 6 years I've been living in Virginia, and look what happened right now. Timing of this conversation tonight.
I think I had asked, apologize for if I don't pronounce
ADIGUN.
ADIGUN, right?
Yeah, what's
right.
going on, man?
My bad. You know, you know, that kind of falls up under the traditionalism. You fucking with that? When you had said, you know, she stay at home and you know, even if you got your own community.
All right. So I just want to clarify on that.
Okay.
When I say that I want my woman to stay at home, I'm only speaking about our community. If I succeed in building an off-grid community away from the city, a community that I can control with the help of other black men, then it would benefit me a great deal to keep her at home. The moment I let her go out into the world, then other people are going to have influence over her. She's a woman. So whoever controls that environment is going to control her. So I prefer her to stay in my environment so I can keep control over her. We're going to come up with our own holidays, our own special events, everything. We're going to have a complete culture and a complete world for her to thrive in. But if she's allowed to leave that world and do whatever she wants, I'm never going to keep control over her. And unfortunately, since we're living in America, that means I'm not going to keep control over my children. My son will never know what he needs to know to thrive in this society. My daughter is going to be a whore. So I have to maintain control for the benefit of my children and my family.
No, you know, we definitely agree with that over here on, you know, B.A.M.Hood. You know, the bands, as far as we only fucking with females, that's going to facilitate the culture that we create. Yes, those backs will get the benefits. You know, those ones that are worthy. You know what I'm saying? So I can dig that. You know, it was just a question. That was you had said it earlier. But you know, I had missed that part outside of this society. So is that's what you trying to aim for?
Yes. Whether I do it here on American soil, which I will be doing, or if I do it overseas, which I will be doing later on in life, I'm still going to create a complete community that's completely self-sufficient that black men can work, build, and rule in.
Let me ask you this, ADIGUN. Do you think that it's possible in a certain circumstance
Yes.
to hear?
Yes. On American soil, it's possible to do this only short term because eventually white America or the government is going to learn about it and they're going to come through and fuck everything up. They're going to place everyone under arrest if we resist. And they're going to kill all the animals that we've been taking care of, and they're going to burn all the crops that we've been growing for years and years. That's what America does. But starting off here is really just, I don't know, it's what you want to do first, because it's right here. You might as well do it. Then you can duplicate it overseas everywhere. But starting off here is just giving us the experience and the knowledge we need so we can make the duplication of this process smoother, if that makes any sense.
Yeah, I agree with that. You know, I just suspect that that's why I call it a quandary. You know what I'm saying? Because I suspect that white domination is everywhere, and anti-blackness, for the most part, is everywhere, right?
Yes.
And it's like, okay, you know, unfortunately, we've been bred to be, generally speaking, because there are always exceptions, but that doesn't prove the rule. Be unsophisticated, right? We've been bred to be very unsophisticated, right? And so, you know, it's about having those conversations, you know, maybe even clandestine, like how you say, you know, the Ibmor FAMO do it. You know what I'm saying? Talking to each other, building those relationships, because, you know, we need to be able to trust each other beyond the anti-blackness, because I'm not going to sit up here in front. I've been saturated in white domination. Okay?
Sure.
So on some level, I don't like you nor trust you. However, only because I understand this, am I able to push back at this goddamn narrative. You know what I'm saying? And talk the way that I'm talking, and we have this conversation. Right?
Sure.
It's not a widespread conversation. It's a lot about what I like to coin as, we tend to have XYZ conversations without understanding our ABC situation. Right? So it's kind of like a goddamn Nike commercial. Just do it. You know? What you gonna do? What you gonna do? What the fuck? You ain't gonna do shit. Wait a minute. You know, it's just like motherfuckers talking about, I'm sure you've heard ADIGUN, motherfuckers talk about black economics and shit. You know, I think that that's asinine than a motherfucker. Because which one comes first? The motherfucking philosophy that's perpetuated, or the motherfucking act? You know? So, an example of that would be, okay, motherfuckers saying, yeah, we need to practice group economics. Then you go find the nearest black person who is a capitalist to the T. Hell, fucking black economics is a euphemism for capitalism anyway. But we don't hear that either. Right?
Sure.
And then we go to these motherfuckers and they show you, nigga, we don't give a fuck about what y'all talking about. You know, spend your money, buy and leave, nigga. You know what I'm saying? How the fuck is that for what the fuck motherfuckers attempting to do? However, that conversation does not make it to the forefront, and it's not even perpetuated to stay there. And we still talk about this shit because we want to talk about other shit. Does that make sense?
I know that most people underestimate the power of community. So much like this conversation where, you know, we got a few people here who mostly agree. Whenever you're in a community and you synergize those efforts in proximity with each other, right? There's an exponential growth that happens that is underestimated. So many people kind of, they withdraw from all of society and they become secluded, and their efforts are not exponentially grown. I'll give you an example. A 300-page book, it might take me about, I'm a slow reader, Might take me 3 months to read a 300-page book, right? This guy over here might take him, he might read a 300-page book in 3 hours. So now you got 300 people reading 1 page of a 300-page book, all different pages. Might take us 5 minutes to read the entire book, and then we can all talk about it. You see what I'm saying? Now we know parts of the book, different parts of the book. See what I'm saying? But you got an organized number of when to speak. You next, you next, you next. We figure out what the book says. Okay? So when you're working in a community, the same thing happens. Time is saved by synergizing your efforts. You see what I'm saying? So when it comes to the promotion part of this that we've been talking about, we can all come together, you know, just this small panel and say, hey man, you know, we can get on this show, we can get on that show, we can get on this show and talk about brotherhood. We can come up with a catchy name for it that'll stick. You know what I'm saying? B.A.M.Hood. Is it? Mm-hmm. And then the principles that we want to lay out, which is the community that we want to build, the things we want to learn, the things that we have already learned that we want to apply to the community and things of that nature.
Mm. And I definitely want to make this clear that, you know, the concept of B.A.M.Hood that I came from up with is it's meant to be dynamic, not static. Okay, I'm definitely not interested in not taking in new ideals and concepts that will perpetuate this B.A.M.Hood so that we could see each other in a way that we can identify with each other specifically. So for the listening audience, you know, once you hear this term for the first time, I suspect, it's dynamic, meaning that it's meant to change, it's scalable, it's meant to change to suit the time frame in which it's in, because it's meant to outlive us who are on this goddamn panel. And it's meant to bring us together, be able to see the value in one another